y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taya and this is Taya's Turning Pages. So today we'll be discussing all of the big books that I want to read in 2023. And so what do I mean by big books? I essentially just mean books that are 500 plus pages. I actually have quite a few on my TBR that I actually carried over from last year, and then of course I'm going to carry over from this year, and so on and so forth. But I really wanted to film this video just to put a spotlight on some of these books, because some of them I haven't talked about on my channel at all, and I feel like you guys might be surprised with some of the picks here. But I either do want to pick back up some of these books and finish them in 2023. I don't know if that's going to be possible for obvious reasons, but I'm going to try to be optimistic and hope that I can at least get through some of these books. So with all of that out of the way, let's get started. So the first book that I have here I feel like might surprise some of my longtime subscribers, because I've said in the past that this is a book that I have no interest in reading, but now I do. A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, and this book clearly needs no introduction just because of how popular it is and how visible it is. I feel like so many people have talked about this book on Booktube, BookTok, and Bookstagram extensively, but I'm assuming it's for good reason, especially because this book was the finalist for the Man Booker Prize, which is a very prestigious award from what I've heard. So I know that there are mixed reviews on this book, but I feel like this book does get an overwhelming amount of support and love and adoration from its fans. And so I really just want to read this, of course, and form my own opinion on it and see if this is going to be one of those life-changing books for me that it is for everybody else. So the only things that I know about A Little Life is that it follows a group of friends who are going through the trials and tribulations and hardships of life. You're with them throughout the story and really getting to see them at their highs and their lows, and that's all I know. Of course, this book is very emotional and very moving. I know a lot of people have said that this book has destroyed them emotionally, and they cried so hard when they read this book. I'm just really curious to see how I will feel about it and if it will become a favorite of mine. I really enjoy emotional books and books that explore trauma and unpacking that. I don't know what it is. I think that's just the part of my brain that's really interested in psychology kicking in, because I just really like reading books like that and have complicated topics and themes. I just feel like it adds a lot of depth and substance and nuance to the story that you wouldn't get otherwise. Really excited to read this one at some point. I know that sounds odd because this book is really heavy. I really want to read this because I want to join in on the discussions, and I just really want to know why this book was a finalist for the Man Booker Prize. And I also forgot to mention that this book is 814 pages. So this will be a book that I'm going to have to kind of drag throughout the year. I know that's not wise, but all of these books here I'm probably going to have to drag throughout the year, because I just can't see myself finishing this in 1 month. Not with the way that life is set up. I just don't see that happening, but we will try our hardest. The next book that I have here is a romance, and it is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. So I feel like I'm the last person on earth to read this book and to discuss it and to talk about it, but we're here now. So I think the story follows a woman named Catalina, and Catalina's sister is actually having a wedding in Spain. And so Catalina is helping out her sister plan this wedding, and I'm not really sure how he comes into the picture, but I think her love interest, Aaron, is friends with Catalina's sister or something like that. And either way, they end up getting thrown together a lot throughout the story, and then you follow them on this journey of getting closer to one another and then falling in love. So yeah, classic romance story. This is enemies to lovers, which I'm really excited about because that is my favorite trope. So I really hope that this book delivers on that front. But this book is actually not 500 plus pages. This is only 473 pages, but it's close enough, okay? And this is one of the bigger books that I have on my bookshelf, and I haven't gotten to it yet because of how long this book is. And I mentioned in other videos that I am slowly starting to become more interested in slow burn romances. So I feel like this book is going to be really great, like segues into the genre full steam. I have read slow burn romances. I read The Roughest Draft last year, and that was the book that introduced me into my newfound appreciation for slow burn romances, but that book wasn't nearly as long as this. So I'm really hoping that I can get through this and I don't get bored and it doesn't lull, but we will see. I know that this book has a lot of mixed reviews. You either love it or you hate it, and so obviously I really hope that I'm in the former and I end up loving it, because this book has just been talked about and shopped around, I feel like, on the internet for so long, and I just need to get to it and see how I feel about it. I think you guys are going to see this video way after I upload my December TBR video as well as my end of the year book tag, so this shouldn't be a huge shock, but it still might be, who knows. But anyways, the book that I'm referring to is Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyers. So I mentioned in my December TBR video, as well as my end of the year book tag, that I do plan on reading the Twilight Saga once and for all. I have never read it, nor have I seen the movies. I just missed out on that wave completely when I was growing up. I just wasn't interested in it, but now I am. 14 to 15 years later, right? Better late than never. This is the biggest book out of the series, and I am really intimidated by this one, you guys. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I'm not sure if I'm going to listen to the audiobook or if I'm going to try to tackle the physical copy. I'm not sure, but either way, this is one of the bigger books that I have on my TBR, and this book is sitting at a whopping 754 pages. So whew, this is going to be something. It really is. I'm not going to get into the full synopsis of Breaking Dawn just because I think this is what, like the third, fourth, I'm not sure, fifth book, I don't know, in the Twilight Saga. I don't really want to go into all of that, and I don't want to spoil anything for me. Like I said, I don't know anything about this series except for the fact that it follows vampires, werewolves, and there's a bit of romance in it. That's all I know, and that's all I need to know. Really excited to read this at some point. I just don't know how it's going to get done, but hopefully it'll get done. And the second to last book that I have here is a nonfiction book, and it is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. So I actually started this book last year during Nonfiction November, and I haven't picked it up since. I really need to get back on the ball and read this because I am very interested in Barack Obama's life as well as Michelle Obama's life. I actually read her memoir, Becoming, way before I joined Booktube and Bookstagram, and I really enjoyed that. And so when I found out that Barack Obama was going to come out with his own memoir, I pre-ordered it right away. This is one of the few books that I actually pre-ordered because I was so excited to read it and to see what he was going to tell us, because I'm just so fascinated by his political career, especially of course his presidency, because of how unprecedented it was with him being the first Black president. And so I knew right away that I was going to add this to my cart, and that's exactly what I did. So like I said, I started this last year and I got to page, let's see, I got to page 108, chapter 6. And so that's not bad. I think I am going to continue where I left off. I do still remember everything that I read for the most part, which is great. But this book is just a chunker, as you guys can see. This book is sitting at 701 pages. So again, very, very long. And the reason why I picked this up and didn't continue it is not because I wasn't enjoying it. Other books popped up and I wanted to read them and get them out of the way, and then life happened. I was reading one chapter a night when I was like consistently reading this, and then I fell off completely. So I am really going to try to get back into this and finish it in 2023 because I do think that Barack Obama is going to release a part 2 of this, and I don't want to have to read like 1,200 plus pages, you know? So I am really going to try to prioritize this in the new year. I might listen to the audiobook because he does narrate that himself. So I might just listen to that and maybe read along, who knows? But I really do want to get back to this at some point because like I said, I was really enjoying it, and it was so fascinating learning about his start in the political sphere and how it helped guide him into the presidency. The next book that I have here is The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honorée Fanonne Jeffers. So this is a book that I mentioned in my Black History Month recommendation / TBR video. I will leave that linked up above in the card somewhere, but I mentioned wanting to read this book back then and it just never happened. I actually have the audiobook for this and Audible and everything ready to go. I just haven't pressed play yet, but I really do want to read this book at some point because again, another book that has glowing reviews. Everybody that has read this has said that it is phenomenal. This book is sitting at 879 pages. So that really intimidates me, like for real. So this is an expansive generational saga. And so this story follows a Black family and their history starting from the Civil War all the way up until the Civil Rights Movement. So I already know that this book is going to be very triggering, very emotionally charged, and just gonna have me in the feels. So that's another reason why I've been putting this off, because I just know that it's going to be really daunting and emotionally taxing to get through. But just like all of these other books, I really want to get to it at some point. And the next book that I have here, I'm actually reading it right now, but I know I'm going to have to take it into 2023 because it is so long and I want to take my time with this. Babel by R.F. Kuang. So I know this might come as a shock. It came as a shock to me when I actually bought this on my iPad and started reading it, because I would have never thought that this is a book that I would want to read or pick up. But shout out to Throne of Pages because she did a phenomenal job at pitching this book. I'm going to leave her video link down below so that way you guys can check out her speaking about Babel, because the way that she pitched it, like I said, was just so compelling and she did a great job. Once I heard her talking about this book and explaining why it was so profound and so moving for her, I just had a feeling it was going to be right up my alley. Because there's a lot going on, I'm just going to read the synopsis here. Y'all know I'm still inching my way into the fantasy genre, so bear with me. I don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's Latin, but right here it says Trudator traditor. An active translation is always an act of betrayal, which is a common theme throughout the book. 1828, Robin Swift, orphaned by cholera in Canton, is brought to London by the mysterious Professor Lebel. There he trains for years in Latin, ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in prep for the day he'll enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. Babel is the world's center of translation and, more importantly, of silverworking, the art of manifesting the meaning lost in translation through enchanted silver bars to magical effect. Silverworking has made the British Empire unparalleled in power, and Babel's research in foreign languages serves the empire's quest to colonize everything it encounters. Oxford, the city of dreaming spires, is a fairy tale for Robin, a utopia dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge. But knowledge serves power, and for Robin, a Chinese boy raised in Britain, serving Babel inevitably means betraying his motherland. As his studies progress, Robin finds himself caught between Babel and the shadowy Hermes Society, an organization dedicated to sabotaging the silverworking that supports imperial expansion. When Britain pursues an unjust war with China over silver and opium, Robin must decide, can powerful institutions be changed from within, or does revolution always require violence? What is he willing to sacrifice to bring Babel down? And so I know there's a lot going on there, and this book is definitely one of those books where you do have to pay attention to, at least in my opinion, just because, as you can hear from that synopsis, this book does speak to British colonialism and imperialism and how all of that still has lasting and devastating effects for everyone around the world. This book is really heavy with those type of topics. I'm really enjoying it so far. There are so many different chapters and pieces of dialogue that I relate to so much. I love Robin, who is our male MC. I'm obsessed. Like, I love him so much, and I can't wait for him to be exposed to more truths and just what's really going on, and really shed that naivete that he has had throughout his entire life, because his guardian was hiding so many different things from him. And so I can't wait for Robin to essentially wake up and see, like, hey, there's some sinister shit going on, especially involving your country and your home. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the story so far. R.F. Kuang is a fantastic writer, and I can't wait to get further into it. I'm only about 12% in because, like I said, this book is so long. It's sitting at 545 pages, which is long for me, and I'm literally reading a chapter or two a day because the chapters are pretty long. They're about like 40 to 50 pages long, and so I'm really taking my time with this. And like I said, I just know that I won't be able to finish this until the new year, but that's fine. I'd rather take my time with this story and really absorb as much information and really sit with it as much as I can versus just flying through it and not retaining any of that, you know, especially because this is different from the books that I typically read. I just know that I'm gonna have to put in a little extra work to really making sure that I understand what's going on, but also making sure that I am truly like engaged, you know. And the last book that I have here is another romance, and it is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. Besides From Luke Waffle's Love sounds the most interesting to me. And so right here, the synopsis says, losing people you love is hard. Aurora de la Torre knows moving back to a place that was once home isn't going to be easy. Starting your whole life over probably isn't supposed to be. But a small town in the mountains might be the perfect remedy for a broken heart. Checking out her landlord across the driveway just might cure it too. So that synopsis did pique my interest because it is a small town romance. And you also have someone running away from their past and trying to start anew. I love those type of tropes, and so I feel like this book is going to be right up my alley. Now I know that Mariana Zapata is the queen of slow burn, so I know that there's not going to be any action or anything like that until the very end of the book. So similar to the Spanish Love Deception, I'm really hoping that the pacing isn't off for me and that it doesn't lull, and that I'm interested and engaged from chapter 1 all the way into the end. I'm not sure if that's how it's going to go, but I'm really hoping that it does, because this has glowing reviews. A lot of people really enjoy this book, and I know that this is one of Mariana Zapata's more popular slow burn romances. So we'll see how this goes. All right, y'all, and those are all of the big books that I hope to get to in 2023. Of course, there are going to be more big books, I'm sure, that come out in the new year that I'm going to want to add to my TBR, but for now, these are all of the books that I have currently on my bookshelves or in my Kindle app / Apple Books app. So I'm really trying to shop my shelves for this TBR because I really need to get to some of these books that I already own and cross them off of my list. So like I said, there probably will be more books that might get added to this TBR, and if I feel like it's a huge amount, then I'll make another video, but if not, you'll definitely see them sprinkled throughout my monthly TBR videos. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely make sure you comment down below and let me know what big books you would like to tackle in 2023. I would love to know. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me my channel out. And lastly, please make sure you follow me on Bookstagram as well as Storygraph. I will leave all of that information linked down below, as well as at the end of the video like I always do. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!